from them, smiled. Smiled. You already know something is deeply broken in this country when people can harbour a missing child for 6 days, lie directly to law enforcement, and then laugh about it in front of a judge. But what happened next exposed something far darker than anyone expected. Cristina Vasquez is a working mother. She had 2 other kids at home, a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. And on August 21st, her 14-year-old daughter, Claudia, refused to go take a Spanish exam. So Cristina did what any responsible parent would do. She told Claudia she was going to take her phone away. And the girl freaked out, ran out the back door, and disappeared into the woods. At first, Cristina thought her daughter just needed to cool off. But hours passed. Then night came. No calls, no texts, nothing from the one person Claudia lived and breathed for, her 16-year-old boyfriend, Tyler. So Cristina went to Tyler's house herself. She looked that boy in the eye and asked if he knew where her daughter was. He told her Claudia said she was running away to a friend's house and shut off her phone. He swore he hadn't heard from her since, and Cristina believed him. But you know, just like I know, that when a teenager swears he knows nothing, something almost always. And next was a manhunt. 6 detectives worked around the clock, 3 at night, 3 during the day. SWAT teams combed the woods. Bloodhound dogs tracked scents that led nowhere. Helicopters circled overhead. Flyers went up in searched, and for 6 full nights, Cristina Vasquez did not know if her daughter was dead or alive. She sat in her house while detectives told her they had searched Tyler's home 6 times, and they truly believed the boy didn't know anything. That's how convincing he was. But on the 6th morning, something broke the case wide open. The police confiscated Tyler's phone, and they found a message that made their blood run cold. A text from Tyler to his own mother, Melinda McManus. The message said, "Mom, we need you to distract Dad because Claudia has to go to the bathroom." Distract Dad. That single text exposed the entire operation. The detectives didn't wait. They didn't knock. They went straight back to that house and found the missing 14-year-old girl crammed underneath Tyler's bed like a fugitive. She'd been there the entire time, and the McManus family knew it. Now here's where this story takes a turn into something genuinely terrifying. Melinda McManus didn't act like a woman who'd been caught red-handed. When the police found the child, Melinda claimed she was protecting Claudia from abuse. She said the girl told her she was being beaten at home, that she came to school with black eyes. But when the judge asked if she'd ever seen a black eye, Melinda said no. When the judge asked if she'd taken a photo of the so-called goose egg on the girl's head, Melinda said no. And the police photos showed marks, sure, but nothing like what she described. Here's the breadcrumb that should keep you up tonight. Melinda McManus is not some random neighbour. She is a certified youth therapist. A professional trained to recognise real abuse and legally mandated to report it. And yet, when police came to her door 6 separate times asking about a missing child, she lied over and over. She looked officers in the face and said she didn't know where the girl was. Then she smiled in court when the truth came out. What kind of person trained to protect children does that? What else is in those case files they don't want you to know about? This is where our unlikely hero enters the story. Judge Marilyn Millian. You've probably seen her on television. The legal elite mock her. They call her show entertainment, not real justice. They've tried to blackball her from serious legal circles for years because she speaks plainly and doesn't bow to the robe-wearing club. But on this day, Judge Millian became something else. She became the voice of every parent who's ever been undermined by a system that thinks it knows better. She looked at Melinda McManus and said words that cut through the nonsense like a blade. And there were parents suffering for 6 days while you did this. Do you understand how lame your answer, "I thought I was protecting her," is, when there are police looking for her who could actually protect her? You're an adult. You're a mother. How is it you could allow a manhunt looking for a missing 14-year-old girl and you know where she is? The judge saw right through the performance. And when Melinda kept smiling, the judge didn't just get angry, she got biblical. She told them their arrogance was destroying their own son's life. Punishment was the exposure. The judge made sure everyone watching understood exactly who these people were. And then came the texts, the real ones, not the flirtatious teenage love notes you might expect, but something that reads like a demonic fantasy written by broken souls. Let me see her on fire. I want to hear her screams out for help as her flesh burns and sticks to her ugly face. These are the words of children who were being supervised, enabled, and protected by a certified youth therapist, a woman who heard the knock of police officers and shuffled a 14-year-old into a storage area, a woman who now claims she had no idea what was going on under her own roof. Her husband, Christopher, the father Tyler had to distract so Claudia could use the bathroom, sat in court and said his wife's heart is bigger than her brain. That was his defense. A big heart, as if harboring a fugitive child from a SWAT team search is an act of love. The judge didn't. The same day the police returned Claudia to her real parents, an anonymous report was filed with Child Protective Services against the Vasquez family. An anonymous report, the kind anyone can make without evidence, without accountability, and with the power to destroy a family. Melinda denied making that call. She blamed it on a hospital social worker. But think about the timing. The very day their house of cards collapsed, CPS got involved. The McManuses had already been caught lying. Now they wanted to paint the real parents as abusers. Classic move. Discredit the victim. And it all while his wife faced criminal obstruction charges. Following the law while his son plotted imaginary murder. And you have to ask yourself, who taught these children that fantasizing about burning a mother alive was acceptable? What conversations happened in that house when no one was recording? What ritualistic hatred was being poured into these kids every single day? This is where the everything makes sense now moment hits you like a freight train. The McManuses are not an isolated case. They represent an entire class of self-appointed saviors who believe their credentials give them authority over your children. Melinda, the youth therapist, decided she knew better than a biological mother. She decided the girl's claims of abuse, claims never proven and never photographed, were enough to justify hiding a child from a helicopter search. She decided her judgment trumped the law, trumped the parents, trumped the police. And how many times have we seen this same story play out across the country? Social workers coaching children to make false accusations during custody battles. Therapists encouraging estrangement from parents because they disagree with traditional values. A system that treats parental authority as optional while elevating the opinions of degree-holding strangers into sacred texts. Judge Millions stood against that machine for one day and won. But she can't be in every courtroom. She can't read every text message. She can't stop every smiling therapist from destroying another family. The McManuses walked out of that courtroom owing $5,000. Their criminal case for obstruction remains pending. Will they see the inside of a jail cell? Probably not, because the system protects its own. The same therapeutic elite that trains people like Melinda will circle the wagons. They'll call this a misunderstanding. They'll say she was just trying to help a troubled teen. And they'll quietly reinstate her credentials, while the Vasquez family continues fighting for their daughter's soul. Cristina Vasquez is not giving up. She's got her daughter in counseling, in mentoring, in family therapy. But she's still dealing with the interference. Her daughter still sneaks out. The McManuses still smile. And somewhere out there, another family is living the first day of their own 6-day nightmare right now, not knowing that the people they trust are hiding their child in a storage room. So I have to ask you directly, What would you do if this happened to your family? If a neighbour, a therapist, a so-called helper decided they have the right to hide your 14-year-old from you while helicopters flew over your house? How many more cases like this have to pile up before we admit that something about the way we license and trust these professionals is fundamentally broken? The Vasquez family got justice in one television courtroom. But real justice, the kind that changes the system, that holds the elite accountable, that protects parents from state-sponsored interference, that justice is still missing. And until it arrives, we need to keep these stories in the light. Share this video if you believe a mother's bond is sacred. Drop your thoughts below, because if we stop talking about this, they win. And smiling Melinda McManus will just find another family to destroy.